The U.S. Interior Department announced that it was grounding its entire fleet of DJI drones used by it earlier this year. The reason is that components in the drones could potentially be used for spying. The decision has some exception scenarios where the drone can be used. These included emergency missions like fighting wildfires and search and rescue operations. This move is actually an extension of an order of last year that was taken due to the concerns that drones made in China could expose sensitive data. In this situation, French drone manufacturer PARROT is now working to stake a claim to the U.S. military market. It's interesting to note that PARROT has moved from competing with DJI on the consumer front to focusing on the enterprise market. PARROT's been engaged in an operational assessment for a short-range reconnaissance drone program and will begin manufacturing prototypes of the drone in the U.S. This video is sponsored by War Thunder, the most comprehensive military vehicle online game for PC, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One, in which you can go to battle on more than 1,200 playable aircraft, tanks, helicopters, and ships from the 1930s to the 1990s. The game has an amazing attention to detail and focuses on a realistic combat experience, which is why knowing your vehicles and skill really makes a difference. It's easy to get into, and all you need to play is nothing more but your mouse and keyboard or controller. Immerse yourself in cross-platform combat with more than 20 million other military vehicle enthusiasts from all over the world. Download and play War Thunder for free using the link in the description below, and also get a free bonus tank, aircraft, or ship, and 3 days of premium account. South Korea's military stated North Korea has launched multiple short-range anti-ship cruise missiles into the sea, and Sukhoi jets fired air-to-surface missiles as part of military exercises. The missile tests were done on the eve of a national holiday in North Korea to celebrate the birthday of Kim Il-sung, the founder of the country and grandfather of the current leader, Kim Jong-un. South Korea's Joint Chiefs of Staff, JCS, told reporters the anti-ship missiles dived into the sea more than 150 kilometers or 93 miles off the east coast of Munchen, where Sukhois carried out firing tests. It's unclear how many missiles were fired. U.S. Army General Mark Milley, chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, told reporters, "I don't think it's particularly provocative or threatening to us. It may be tied to some celebrations that are happening inside North Korea, as opposed to any deliberate provocation against us." Boeing has delivered its 500th AH-64E Apache Guardian helicopter to the U.S. military and defense forces around the world. First delivered in 2011, the AH-64E has been used in combat as well as peacekeeping efforts in many places. Boeing said in a statement, "Production, flight test, and deliveries of the AH-64E Apache helicopter continue at the Boeing site in Mesa, Arizona. The multi-role combat helicopter has undergone many upgrades to ensure its capabilities meet the requirements of changing battle scenarios. E or Echo model helicopters provide improved performance, digital interoperability, and better situational awareness. Apart from this, the model has increased survivability and reduced operational costs." It's interesting to note that Boeing has delivered more than 2,400 Apaches of different variants to customers globally. Taiwan's Ministry of National Defense, MND, said that Taiwan has begun to prepare to train personnel and set up training facilities for the 108 M1A2T Abrams tanks the United States is to deliver to Taiwan from 2023 to 2026. Viewers may note that Taiwan purchased these tanks to modernize its current fleet of 1,000 battle tanks, mostly M60A3 and CM11 models, which have been in service for more than 2 decades. The purchase is worth $1.34 billion. The preparations are being made with the help of the United States. In February, experts from the U.S. visited Taiwan from and surveyed several sites where training can be conducted. Taiwan's Army is planning to send 84 Army personnel to the U.S. to train for 6 to 9 months as SEAD instructors in 2023. Apart from this, another 168 Army officers with foreign language skills and 72 young officers who had been studying in U.S. military schools have also been placed on a reserve list for training in the U.S. Boeing has just been awarded $84 million by the U.S. Air Force for manuals for 2 new VC-25B Air Force One jets it's currently converting from 747-8I airframes. The price is just for manuals to upgrade airframe and not a full-fledged one. Though the price looks ridiculous, it is to be noted that Air Force One jets are unique when compared to commercial ones. Air Force One will have the ability to perform specific maneuvers like steep takeoffs and landing, as well as pulling off evasive maneuvers if it came under attack. The airframe will most likely be hardened against electromagnetic pulses caused by nuclear warheads. The aircraft will also have the most advanced defense countermeasure system, special interior, and most secure airborne communication system. All these will require specific modifications to the airframe. The price tag of the manuals indicates that Air Force One's airframe will be enhanced using state-of-the-art process and material. The Russian news agency TASS reported that the Russian military has taken delivery of the first batch of the upgraded T-90M PARROT, which means breakthrough, main battle tanks. Army Commander Major General Sergei Kissel said, "First deliveries of upgraded T-90M PARROT tanks started in April to the Guards Tank Army of the Western Military District, which is deployed on the territory of 5 Russian regions. These are fundamentally new combat vehicles, which get a new turret, a more powerful engine. The tanks were delivered to the 2nd Guards Motor Rifle Tamanskaya Division, more commonly known as the Taman Motorized Rifle Division, one of the elite Guards armored divisions of the Russian ground forces. T-90M is an improved version of the T-90A and has a highly automated fire control system, as well as a Cord 12.7mm heavy machine gun that can be operated remotely. Importantly, it has a more powerful 2A46M4 main gun, the same as that on the T-14 Armata. Reportedly, the gun has a longer range and is thought to be 15 to 20% more accurate than the standard 2A46M gun of the T-90. The U.S. Air Force has terminated its rotations of bombers to Andersen Air Force Base on Guam, which has been operating since 2004. This comes with the enforcement of policy, as per which U.S. Air Force shifts to a less predictable concept of operations. Viewers may note that starting in 2004, the U.S. Air Force began deploying B-52s, as well as B-1B Bone supersonic bombers and B-2A Spirit stealth bombers for 6-month stints to Andersen on Guam. 5 B-52H Stratofortresses left the base with no replacement aircraft in place, bringing an end to what the service had called the Continuous Bomber Presence Mission. This notably came just days after the bombers took part in a massive Elephant Walk readiness drill that also involved 6 KC-135R aerial refueling tankers, an RQ-4B Global Hawk drone, as well as a U.S. Navy MQ-4C Triton drone, and an MH-60S Seahawk helicopter. The exercise was seen as a message to China. Continuous Bomber Presence Mission called for long-range heavy bombers to be positioned at the bases at all times to respond to potential contingencies. The new concept, which is in line with the National Defense Strategy, requires bombers to operate forward in the Indo-Pacific region from a broader array of overseas locations to reduce predictability and increase operational resilience.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more videos like this. Hit the like button if you find the video interesting, and kindly provide your feedback in the comment section. This will help us improve.